Today, we're going to put a CV carburetor on my 1985 Ironhead. After the initial success that we had putting the Chinese carburetor on my Softail and how well it ran, I thought, why not? We can improve the performance of this 85 Ironhead with a CV carb. There's a lot to it. Stay with me. You're not gonna wanna miss this. I went to my first resource. It's not Amazon, by the way. It is for carburetors. The hardware store. My local hardware store is awesome. It's old school. It's the one that everybody's gone out of business. There's a little town not too far from me that's got a great one 5 miles away. So I head over there and I get stuff to build choppers. Right here, this is my 1966 Ironhead. When we built this one, we had 100 trips to the hardware store. Here's where we are. This is what we've got to do. So we've got to replace this carburetor with this Amazon Keihin carb, just like the one I put on the Softail. This flange fits the Ironhead intake. So we're going to drill this flange. We're going to tap it, put this in here, drill these out, tap the holes, and use these wing nuts to hold this lid on this back. Our next and first step is going to be getting that flange drilled and mounted to the CV carb. So here we are. We're going to mount the carb flange, the intake flange, to the carburetor. Now, I already marked this a little bit because I was kind of testing what I was doing. I want these small bolts to go through this and land like right here in that groove. Not on the groove, but for the groove here. So it will kind of squeeze without putting a hole in, just enough. It's pretty tight anyway. If we tighten it up a little bit more, it's not going to be coming off, and we're going to make a support bracket up to the air cleaner. Let's go to the drill press. Okay, so now we put on this rubber gasket. Now, of course, we've got a problem, right? This is not marked for that. So here's the solution I found. This pick and the stove. Heat that sucker up pretty hot. Then come in from the back side, right here, and through. And done. Okay, so we're back in the garage. What I've done here is I pushed these bolts through the holes that we made with the hot poker all the way down to its seal, and we're going to just lightly now, don't go crazy here. You can feel them starting to tension up. Success! I think this is going to work. Let's put this carburetor on that we just got this flange attached with. We've got the carb on, it's time to make the air cleaner. And we are going to use a cutoff wheel to cut this. Here we go. Let's go put it up against the carb and see what it looks like. Oh, yeah! Come on! So the reason we're doing this is so that, you know, it'll seal against the carb. And it's not super important, but it's important. We want it to sit flat against there. I'm not even sure it's necessary to seal it. It's going to be pretty tight. All right. Not bad at all. So we've got the backing plate for the air cleaner finished and mounted to the carburetor. The next step is the carburetor support bracket. Now Harley always put these on originally because the way that this intake is made, it uses an O-ring and the tension of this clamp right here to hold the intake onto the heads. And if you stay right in there where you can see, I can move this carburetor up and down, and it's moving on the tension of those O-rings. So as you ride the bike down the road and you hit bumps, this carburetor will slip down. So what we need is a bracket from this stud right here, that's where Harley would normally do it, to the back of the air cleaner, okay? And we're gonna do that today. We're gonna manufacture one out of 1/4-inch rod and some flat stock that I got at the hardware store. So we got the round bar in the vise, and we're gonna cold bend this. And that's why I've left it so long here. So over we go, bend one, makes a nice smooth bend, and we wanted it just about at a 90. So I kind of fabbed this up, holding it with a set of vice grips, put it in place. Bottom bracket goes there. Tweak this bracket a little bit to make it kind of fit the curvature of the back side of this. And that is what we end up with. Now that ought to hold it without any problem. The material is definitely a lot heavier than what it needs to be able to get the job done. Next step, we're gonna go to the welder. We're gonna weld these brackets onto this round tube. We got this all bent up, rough ground, edges all cleaned up. Looks like I expect it to at this point. Last bolt in here. We are getting close. Now, as I put this in here, I really tried to get it so that I'm pulling the car back towards the engine, not vice versa, so that it does exactly what we are intending for it to do. So now, if you come in here close, you'll see I can't move the carb. And that's exactly what we wanted. We went with 2 bolts here so it would twist. We put pressure on this joint that we made. So this is the entire assembly done except for the air cleaner. And of course we're using, like we said before, Scotch-Brite. It's all together. This is all solid. I could move the whole motorcycle just pulling back and forth on the air cleaner. So I don't have any doubt that that's going to stay where it needs to be. So key on, fuel on, no leaks, no runs, no drips, no errors. Let's go. Well, that's great. I'm real happy with what we've got here. I'm happy with the way it looks. Obviously the finishes, we're going to be using lots of blue Loctite, putting everything together in its final form, but I think we should get this thing down and take it for a ride. So I got this bike about 6 months ago. I got it running in another video. So this will actually be the first test ride on this motorcycle. And certainly it's the first test ride on the knockoff Keihin adapted to fit an iron head. So let's jump on it, see how it does. Come on. So here we are, safe in front of the garage. The bike runs great. The carb needs a little bit of tuning. We'll take care of that. All the fab work that we did, I think seems to be functioning as we would expect it to. I wanted to give a shout out to Bradenton, Florida, Manatee River Harley-Davidson, all my viewers, friends, subscribers down in Bradenton. I will see you next time on Vintage Harleys Revive.